Man, what an amazing weekend of football. This is the biggest takeaways from the NFL Divisional round, and where do I start? The Washington Commanders going into Detroit in their crib, upsetting a #1 seed. Jaden Daniels going crazy as a rookie, leading the Commanders to the NFC Championship game. That is insane. The rookie season that he has had this year is easily one of one. We all thought CJ Stroud had the GOAT rookie season of all time at the quarterback position in the NFL. Well, this clears this by a mile, with him being one game away from the Super Bowl already, facing the Philadelphia Eagles for the third time in NFC East themed NFC Championship game. That's crazy. The Eagles beat the Rams again. Saquon Barkley went off again against the Los Angeles Rams, having over 200 rushing yards, going crazy. It's going to be a really good game to see who not only will have bragging rights in the NFC East, but who will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But moving on to the AFC though, this is the matchup that we want to see. Now, obviously, a lot of us probably wanted to see Lamar Jackson have a chance to get a ring, but Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, always fireworks in the playoffs, and we're going to get to see them for a fourth time overall in the playoffs and a second time in the AFC Championship game, as the Bills will play against the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium this upcoming Sunday. It's going to be a really good one, guys. And I know the conversation, of course, from the Chiefs and Texans game, the refs, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of unbearable to watch at times, but beyond the refs though, the Chiefs still made plays when they needed to. It doesn't help that the Texans offensive line allowed CJ Stroud to get sacked 8 times. That's been a common theme throughout this year with the Texans O-line, so that's that there. But the Texans did have a solid season, but the Chiefs, man, they have a chance to three-peat. This is the 7th time in a row, their 7th consecutive season making the AFC Championship game. That's wild in itself. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Bills and the Chiefs playing for the Ravens. Part of things, we'll talk about that more in the video, but man, not gonna lie, Lamar didn't have a good first half at all. He got things together in the second half, and that last drive was really good. Or Mark Andrews dropping that 2-point conversion that would have tied the game, ultimately probably going in overtime. That's a heartbreaker there for Ravens fans. So to myself, I was saying, if not now, then when? Well, it's not gonna happen now. We knew there was gonna be a loser to the Bills and Ravens game, and unfortunately for the Ravens, despite the dominant success they had in the regular season, they're out in the second round. So there's definitely gonna be a lot of question marks there. But man, we have a good upcoming week in the AFC and NFC Championship weekends. But before we get to that, we have to break down these divisional round games for sure. So with that being said though, guys, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and turn on post notifications. You know we post about here videos with the NBA, NFL, Marvel, DC, pop culture, all things of that nature, cooking videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Swaggy Russ, and I guess TikTok is back, so follow me on TikTok at Swaggy Russ02 for reels and all things of that nature. And with that being said, let's break down the NFL divisional round. Houston Texans fans, close your eyes. The Kansas City Chiefs won this game 23-14, and I know the conversation here, the refs, they were bad. I'm not gonna lie, they were definitely questionable calls, the roughing the passers, just the countless penalties, making it seem like they were putting the Chiefs into position. But I'm not really gonna get too much into that. I've seen so many memes, and I'm from the Houston area, so I've seen so many people complaining about it on their stories. I'm just tired of talking about that aspect of it. I expected the Chiefs to win anyways, and that's what happened. And we're gonna go into the football component of things, because ultimately, yeah, the refs were involved a lot, but also the refs didn't allow 8 sacks like the Houston Texans offensive line did, and that's been a constant issue for them, and that's something they're gonna need to address in the draft this offseason and free agency and whatever help they can get, and also getting a new O-line coach, because that's been a conversation there. But the Chiefs defense, we know how dominant they've been under Steve Spagnuolo the past few years, and really for most of the Mahomes, Andy Reid tenure as well too. Chris Jones getting in there and creating pressure. George Karlaftis as well, and even the constant pressure. CJ Stroud, he did have a solid game. He completed 19 out of his 28 passing attempts for 245 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but made some good throws when he needed to. Really, from the Texans perspective, what put them out of this game and really cost them was the kicking of Fairbairn, the missed extra point, and also the missed field goal. It certainly would have had them closer into better positions to try to somehow tie it or take the lead of this game, but that's a tough thing for the Texans. But I think it's a solid result. They are now, I believe, 0-6 in the divisional round in their franchise history, so something's gonna shake. Eventually they hope to get to the conference championship round, but it didn't happen this year. And from the Chiefs perspective and the takeaways from them, hey, another win. Really, that's the main thing to say. Travis Kelce, he did have a signature Travis Kelce playoff performance in this game, had 7 receptions for 117 receiving yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt also had a rushing touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, stats not too flashy in that cold weather, completed 16 out of his 25 passing attempts, threw for 177 passing yards and that touchdown to Travis Kelce. So nothing too crazy there, I would say. I mean, the Chiefs, they're going to be going against the Buffalo Bills in a rematch. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, we love seeing that, and I talked about it some in the intro, and it's going to be a really entertaining matchup. I'm looking forward to it. It's always fireworks when those two teams play against each other, but yeah, we'll see if the Chiefs are able to go to another Super Bowl and have a shot to be the first team in NFL history to have a three-peat. And for the Texans, I certainly wouldn't be down, because despite all the struggles throughout the year, all of the injuries and things of that nature, you were still able to be the essentially Elite 8 in NFL terms for the NFL playoffs. So yeah, but the Chiefs got the win. Now this was the surprise of the weekend. The Washington Commanders went into Detroit and beat the Lions 45-31. Dude, over 50 plus points scored in the first half, almost 600 yards of offense in the first half as well too. This game was amazing on Saturday, and I will say Jaden Daniels, I talked about it some, he is the best rookie quarterback we've ever seen. It's crazy. We said that last last year about CJ, but like genuinely, what Jaden Daniels has done, his poise, his attitude, his leadership, and just being able to make plays when needed to, whether it's with his legs or really picking defenses apart with his elite passing. He's been able to show why he was a number 2 pick and really should have been a number 1 pick in this game. No turnovers, completed 22 out of his 31 passing attempts for 299 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Also in the running game had 51 rushing yards as well. Brian Robinson Jr. had 2 rushing touchdowns on 77 yards and 15 carries. Yami Brown had 6 receptions for 98 receiving yards. And I don't know if y'all seen that clip with Amon-Ra St. Brown a couple years ago when he talked about the Yami Brown getting picked before him.
Like, I think, I mean, even the Commanders, they got a guy before me over there. I believe his name is Yami Brown. I don't know how many catches he had. You guys can probably tell me that, or how many yards he had, but I don't forget things like that. You know, I see him across the sideline from where I'm standing during the game, and every team that I'm going to give every team hell.
Well, Brown had a good game in this one and got the get back and had a solid game. Also, Terry McLaurin had that long 59-yard receiving touchdown and had 4 receptions and 87 receiving yards on the game as well with that. And Zach Ertz also had a touchdown too, along with Jeremy Chin getting an interception, Saren still getting 2 interceptions as well, and Quan Martin too, and they also had a pick 6. So this defense came to play. Washington has been the story of the year so far, I would say, in terms of an utter franchise turnaround. Dan Quinn has been a sensational coach this year. Coach of the year candidate for sure. I think it's out of him and Kevin O'Connell, but it's obviously a regular season reward. But if it was for the whole season and playoffs, easily Dan Quinn would win it. The team has just been amazing with what they've done. The first year with new owner, they're already in the NFC Championship game. That's crazy. But talking about the things for the Lions, man, there's no excuses, man. The Lions were the number 1 seed. I know that people are going to talk about the 30 different starters for their defense throughout the year, 18 players placed on injured reserve throughout this season in its entirety. But even despite that, Aaron Glenn, who's going to be a head coach, make no mistake about it, their defensive coordinator has been able to scheme up great game plans for that team and still allow them to dominate throughout the year. But it was insurmountable in this game against the Commanders. For the Lions, it definitely sucks even more now because you lost Ben Johnson. He's going to be the head coach of your rival, or at least one of your rivals in the NFC North, in the Chicago Bears, and you're going to lose Aaron Glenn too. So now, do you look externally or internally for offense coordinator and defensive coordinator? Because that's going to be something to compensate for. In my opinion, this was Detroit's best shot to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. And now there's going to be a lot of questions, and you still have teams in the division with the Packers. They still have a lot of talent. The Vikings too. We'll see what potentially J.J. McCarthy is made of. And now the Bears having your offensive coordinator now as their head coach, with the talent there, he could really unlock Caleb Williams and make that team scary as well. So it's devastating for sure for Lions fans with this loss. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, but for the Lions, it's a lot of heartbreak too, because you were just in the championship game last year, had that 24-7 lead in the conference championship game against the 49ers last year as well, and then to have home field advantage as a number 1 seed and lose in a divisional game, first game after the bye. That just hurts. That hurts for them. And Jared Goff, he did not have a good game. He reverted into the version of Jared Goff that we were accustomed to before he got traded to the Lions from the Rams. So there's going to be a lot of questions there. There were some bright spots though, of course. I mean, their offense was still electric, and they did score 31 points. Jahmyr Gibbs, he looked great, had 14 carries for 105 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 8 receptions for 137 receiving yards, and Laporta had a touchdown too. But that team, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of talent, but they still have some holes to fill, and health is one of them. But hey, the Commanders, they are shocking the world right now, and they got the dub. Shout out to Jaden Daniels and the whole squad there in Washington. Turning the page to Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles got the win over the Los Angeles Rams 28-22 in some snowy, inclement weather conditions. An amazing game in terms of football photography, but not the greatest game in terms of the Rams, in terms of how they finished, because they were so close to potentially taking the lead and winning the game despite Saquon Barkley breaking for that 70-plus yard rushing touchdown. That was insane. He's done that twice in 2 games against the Rams this year. And in this game, had 26 carries for 205 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, and really carried the Eagles, I would say, in a lot of ways, because Jalen Hurts, I know he had the concussion and had his first game last week against the Packers for the first time since week 16. But besides that rushing touchdown Jalen Hurts had, he didn't look impressive at all in the passing game. Yes, he completed 15 out of his 20 passing attempts, but only for 128 passing yards. We can say the conditions, things of that nature, but that's going to be something to see how Dan Quinn and the Commanders defense schemes for Jalen Hurts in the passing game. Are they going to stack the box and make Jalen Hurts beat them? Because a lot of teams will probably use that ingredient, and the Rams are almost successful in terms of executing that game plan because they got to sacking him as well in the game. And if it wasn't for those 2 Saquon Barkley runs as well and them dominating the running game, I'm not sure if the Eagles would have won this game, but they did, and they were impressive. Saquon was, of course, in my opinion, he should be offensive player of the year. That goes without. I know probably people will have an argument for Jamar Chase, and I'm not going to lie, he has that argument because he did win the Triple Crown. But what Saquon Barkley has done is really MVP level worthy, but he's not a quarterback, and we know that's usually a quarterback award. But beyond that, though, talking about the perspective for the Los Angeles Rams, I know they were trying to do this for LA, man. That's what kind of sucks and it's bittersweet for sure. A rookie like Jared Verse going off in this game, I believe he had 2 sacks, looked really good. He talked some trash about the Eagles fans beforehand, but he backed it up too, though. But ultimately, the Rams weren't able to back it up on that last drive. They were driving too, man, even after giving it that touchdown, and the Rams returned to score a touchdown and almost scored another one, but that sack on 3rd and 2 really just hurt them. It was a drive killer. Weren't able to convert on that 4th down. But despite all things for the Rams this season, I would say it's been successful. They started off this season 1-4, dealt with a lot of injuries on the offensive line. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp dealt with injuries, and even despite that, they were able to beat a 14-win Vikings win in dominant fashion in the first round and almost beat the number 2 seed Eagles in this game. Matthew Stafford completed 26 out of his 44 passing attempts, throwing for 324 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, he did have a fumble that was costly, but besides that, he did play solid. He had 19 carries for 106 rushing yards. And Puka Nacua, even despite the weather, had 6 receptions for 97 receiving yards. And DeMarcus Robinson had 74 receiving yards, and Tyler Higbee had a receiving touchdown. So not bad overall from the Rams. Just that Eagles defensive front has been one of the most dominant in the league, and they showed that in this game against the Rams. So it's going to be entertaining seeing these two NFC East teams and the Eagles and the Commanders play in the NFC Championship game to hold the right to go to the Super Bowl. As a Cowboys fan, oh my gosh, I hate this so much. I'm not gonna lie, I hate it badly. I really do. But in my perspective, selfishly, I want the team of the AFC to win. So y'all will see later in the video who I predict from the AFC side to make the Super Bowl, and same with the NFC. But as a Cowboys fan, I wish both of these teams could just lose, man. But it is what it is though. But not for real though. Respect to both of these teams, the Eagles and the Rams, for having a really good game. The Rams were close but no cigar. But I think they really overcame a lot of expectations considering what they dealt with throughout the year, and also recently with the LA Fires and things of that nature too. Shout out to the whole community of LA and praying that y'all are able to restore and rebuild, and just overall sending love regardless. But the Eagles, they got this win. They're going to be playing the Commanders in the championship game, and I predict it's going to be a really good game because of course both of these teams split the matchup when they played against each other in the regular season. Last but not least, the most anticipated matchup for the NFL divisional round was the matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. And in Orchard Park, the Buffalo Bills beat the Ravens, winning 27-25. Man, it's tough though if you're a Ravens fan, because the fumble from Lamar Jackson in the first half, the interception in the first half, the Mark Andrews fumble in the second half, and then on a 2-point conversion, the drop by Mark Andrews. It's just really bittersweet if you're a Ravens fan, knowing you were so close to getting to the conference championship game or having a chance and opt to go into overtime to try to win the game. That just has to be so devastating, and it's gonna likely look like Lamar Jackson will win the MVP, especially since he made the first team All-Pro over Josh Allen, who made second team All-Pro. But what does that go to show for? At this point for Lamar in his career, he's playing for championships, and now he has to wait another season again, watching potentially maybe Patrick Mahomes get close to getting another one, or Josh Allen, who defeated you in this game, have a chance at getting his first. So that's bittersweet if you're a Ravens fan. Not gonna lie, Lamar, he did not play good in the first half, and that would have been a conversation a lot if he didn't play better in the second half, which he did. Overall, not too impressive passing wise. He completed 14 out of his 21 passing attempts for 180 passing yards, one touchdown and 1 interception. But he made the plays when he needed to. Like I said, he threw a great pass to Mark Andrews to get in position to tie the game in the fourth quarter. Threw some good passes to Rashad Bateman, who had 4 receptions for 66 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Derrick Henry didn't have his greatest game, but still was effective when he needed to, having 84 rushing yards on 16 carries for a touchdown. But it just sucks because the Bills, they were bringing the blitz throughout the whole game, bringing a fire, and the Ravens, they were able to adjust to that in the second half. That's how they were able to get back in the game, cutting that at 1.21-10 deficit. But the Bills defense, they were really good in this game, and credit to guys like Von Miller, like Matt Milano, who didn't play in the first matchup in the regular season in week 4 between the Bills and the Ravens, so he certainly made a difference. Taylor Rapp, before getting hurt, he made a difference in the first half, getting that interception as well. And I think honestly it's a combination of the turnover margin that really just lost the game for the Ravens. The Bills didn't have any turnovers and the Ravens did, and that really made a huge difference. But for the Bills though, Josh Allen, not too impressive passing wise, but he made plays when he needed to, completing 16 out of his 22 passing attempts for 127 passing yards. And you expected this out of this game. It's going to be a physical, run dominant game because of the weathery conditions. James Cook had 67 rushing yards, Ray Davis had a rushing touchdown, and Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns. So he didn't throw for any, but he made the plays when he needed to with his legs. So we're going to see Josh Allen face Patrick Mahomes for the 4th time in the playoffs in his career. Can he finally get a win against Mahomes in the playoffs? We will see. It's certainly going to be a really freaking good game. Looking forward to it. The nightcap for the championship games. It's what we've been waiting for. We were excited for this matchup between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and the Bills were able to get the dub at home. We will see now them go to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City to try to get their get back from a few years ago, losing in the 2020-2021 season, the AFC Championship game. Now 4 years later, the prime opportunity to get their get back and finally advance to the Super Bowl for the first time since the 1990s. It's going to be a really good one, guys. And with that being said, let's go on and predict these conference championship games. So yeah, guys, let me know who you have winning in the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I went 1 for 4 on the picks last week because I picked the Rams to win in the upset. I'm not an Eagles fan, so that's why I do not like that franchise. It's respect, of course, but I just don't like them because y'all know I'm a Cowboys fan. But anyways, beyond that, I picked the Rams to win, then I picked the Lions to win, then I picked the Ravens to win. The only one I was right was the Chiefs winning, so probably don't take my word on this. I do know what I'm talking about though, don't get it twisted. But in these games, starting off with the AFC Championship game, I know a lot of people hope I'm right because people are tired of seeing the Chiefs win, but I just think it's Josh Allen's time, man. They beat them in the regular season. They've beaten them, I think, every single time that Josh Allen has played Mahomes in the regular season, but in the postseason, they're still winless. So I think it's time for the Bills to finally get a win and go to the Super Bowl, because in the 90s, the Bills lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls. They're trying to get back there and win, and they have their franchise quarterback in Josh Allen, who's had an MVP type of year. So I think I'm gonna pick the Bills. I might be wrong. I might turn into a meme. The refs might call a million flags, but I'm gonna pick the Bills to win an AFC Championship game and for Josh Allen to get the Bills to the Super Bowl. But flipping to the NFC side, it's kind of tough, man, because I keep going against the Commanders and they keep shocking the world. And it's gonna be in Philadelphia. There probably will be some type of inclement weather, whether it's snow or whatever. But I mean, I guess it gets cold in Washington too, so that might not be too much of an advantage. But whoa, man, I don't know. I think the better matchup would be, in my opinion, the Eagles and the Bills. But right now, it's hard for me not to pick the Commanders. But I'm gonna be logical and pick the Eagles. I think it's gonna be the Eagles and the Bills in the Super Bowl. I might be crazy. Jaden Daniels might go off, and I expect him to. But I just think the Eagles are gonna win this game. Saquon Barkley, we know what he has done to defenses all this year, having a 2,000-yard rushing season, going crazy in the playoffs. I just think it's gonna be the Eagles and the Bills in the playoffs, and we're gonna see a good matchup now in the Super Bowl. If that is the matchup, I'll predict that at a later date next week when we break down the championship rounds. But I think it's gonna end up being the Bills against the Eagles, and I know a lot of y'all expect the Chiefs, but I'm praying for something different, so we will see, though, guys. But let me know in the comments down below who y'all think is gonna be in the Super Bowl and win these conference championship games. Anyways, though, guys, I appreciate you watching. Always make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss. All the information I said in the intro, y'all know where to find me at on social media. So yeah, y'all be blessed. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope 2025 has been good to you so far. And if it hasn't, this is just the first month, guys. Make it a good one. Keep God first. Make him your foundation. Make him your firm foundation and your rock. Keep Christ first. Just keep going. You are loved and you are chosen. You have a purpose. Y'all have a good one. Y'all be blessed.